The Circle of Knowledge podcast is brought to you by Amplified Minds, helping entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and dreamers take their business ideas and goals to the next level. This podcast features best-selling industry resources and the professional panel discussion by the core team at Amplified Minds. Now, here are their discussions.
Welcome back again to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you're counting at home, this is the 22nd podcast episode. If you haven't heard of any of our episodes up until this point, we absolutely highly advise you to go back and start listening because we have some incredible content. Today, the subject includes Black Swan, or The Black Swan, by Nassim Taleb. And in just a minute, we're going to be talking a little bit more about how we can improve ourselves and how we can also notice and identify what a black swan is in our lives, whether we be them or an attitude or something that we do every day.
That's right. So the black swan, the impact of the highly improbable, the way that he introduces it, of course, the idea behind the black swan. So back in Western Europe, okay, a few hundred years ago, whatever, they believed that only white swans existed. And this was a common belief throughout all of history until they ventured out into Australia, where they discovered there were black swans. And it completely changed the course of history for them because leading into that, they only thought that one thing was possible, only to discover that something else changed the course for them and their beliefs. So one thing that we want to talk about is what that means here today. And we want to talk about some of the black swans. As Nassim talks about in his book, The Black Swan, he talks about the impact that it has on business and our own personal lives and how a lot of times we like to predict. We like to predict the outcomes of our lives based on things that have been set in stone in all of history. For example, people always need clothes, right? People always need clothes. So building clothing shops will always exist because everybody will always need clothes. But that creates fragility. Okay, we become fragile when we think that if we just go start another clothing company, it will succeed and it will sustain itself for a long time. You become fragile because you don't anticipate some of the disruptors who come in and who can completely alter the industry as a whole and completely take out your business by coming in and competing with you. And what you're unprepared for is that fragility, those black swans, these random moments that could completely change the course of your business, okay, or your life. Talk about some modern day black swans. You take a look at a group like Apple. Okay, Apple, or maybe it's Mr. Elon Musk with Tesla or SpaceX, okay, where up until, I don't know, a couple years ago, the whole idea with NASA was let's send some people on the moon to create, this, I guess it's the war for the outer space, right? So all the different countries are competing, and continents or whatever are competing to see who can get out and explore more of space. But then you have people like Elon Musk and Richard Branson who are talking about now putting us up into space, creating colonies up in space and making it a piece of travel for us. That is a black swan. It's something that people may criticize and they laugh at right at the beginning because this idea is so outrageous. It breaks the mold of traditional thinking. Okay, it breaks that mold of us thinking that white swans are the only things that existed. And now you have this black swan that comes in and completely alters the course of history. And what Nassim Taleb talks about is that it's okay to be those black swans. In fact, it's a lot better because typically those are the industry changers. Those are the people who come in and they're the billionaires of this world. They're the ones who have changed the industries as a whole. They've changed the course of history by coming in with black swans. They've broken out of this common chain of predictability because you can't really predict the future because it's susceptible to randomness. All right, and they've delivered these ideas which have now completely altered our courses of history. Coming out of SpaceX, Tesla, Apple, businesses like that are these black swans.
And something I wanted to cover too on this is, on the show we have talked about Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and I wanted to separate the difference between what an outlier is and the black swan. So outliers are those people who tend to be different than everyone else, and they're always there. But what a black swan is the thing or person or organization that people always thought didn't exist until they erupted, right? Or until they were discovered or until they were found, but they were always there. And that's kind of the difference between an outlier and a black swan, is the black swans have always been here and they've always produced. We just have limited our beliefs to know that they can make the difference that they do. And those are the types of organizations that are out there. And I think it's really cool because when you have a black swan mentality, you realize that you can change industries because you've always been there and you've learned how to do so, or you have that alternating opportunity to act on great things that allow you to shift your industry. So I love it, and I wanted to just kind of break that down a little bit more. Maybe I didn't do a good enough job of explaining it, but there is a difference between outliers and black swans. I just thought I would throw that out there.
No, I think that's great, and I think that the biggest thing for us to understand is that, as safe as we feel like some of our paths are, you need to understand that can create some fragility, right? We become fragile, and that can break us down when these random things come in and they happen. They can disrupt our lives, and the best way to prepare for those is to understand that random things can happen, okay? And it's okay that they do. You just cannot predict that the safety behind even work, the safety behind having, an insurance policy that pays very well or whatever else. So many random things can come into play that can completely alter your life right now. And the only thing that you can really do is accept that it happens and chase after a lot of that risk. Because you can figure out ways to create these black swans, and as you create these black swans and these acts of randomness, you can actually control a lot more of your situation. I know it sounds really weird, but the reason why is because if you can shift industries like that, if you can create these different changes, you're going to actually attract a lot more people. Because these people, especially now, people are so into change, they're so into this idea of disruption, and you have the ability to jump on board with that. So I think our challenge for you guys would be really quit predicting the future based on things that have worked in the past, because you just never know what may come in and may drive a wedge into that system. We were told once about this idea of, there are things in this world that just always work, that always create a great life for you. You could be a plumber, you could be an electrician, you could be a farmer, you could be whatever in real estate, you can be a financial advisor. These guys are a dime a dozen, and what's unfortunate for a lot of these individuals, they are so fragile to things that come in and can completely alter their course. For example, the decline in 2008, it came in and it hit the entire nation, and the entire economy suffered because people were just unprepared for this random thing that came in, because they were all living this safety lifestyle. Okay, but then you take a look at an individual like Grant Cardone, and he said, when that happened, I worked harder. I put more money and invested more money into my projects, into my team, and I advertised more, and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed, because while everyone else was hurt by this randomness, he said, this is my time to deliver and to drive forward. So that's when he pushed the hardest, was when the rest of the economy had suffered. It's people like that who are these black swans. They're going in and they're controlling these situations, saying, I can take these acts of randomness and I'm going to use it to my benefit, but I'm going to deliver a black swan myself and disrupt an industry. While everyone was pulling back and retreating, he said, I'm going to be the one who steps forward. So if I were you guys, think about if you are the black swan, if you have ideas that are black swans, and chase those. Even though it may sound risky, that's what changes industries. And that is how you affect your life in the best way possible, and how you predict for random acts that may happen to you in your life.
Yeah, so if you want to become a black swan, just start thinking, what is everyone else doing, and do the exact opposite, right? We want to make sure that you become a black swan, or you have that black swan mentality, so that you can disrupt and improve and become the next, Apple, Walmart, the biggest of the bigs, right? So that's our challenge to you, and we appreciate you being on the show. And that's all we have for today. Please go get the book, Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. All right, if you can see it.
Way to go on the accent there, John.
I tried to add my accent to it. So.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. And that's it. Until next time.
Hey, This is John with Amplified Minds. Thanks again for listening to the show. We really hope you enjoyed the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you like the Circle of Knowledge podcast, go ahead, subscribe, rate us, and if you give us a 5-star review, we promise to give you a personal shout out here on the air. Just watch us. You can also engage with us a little bit more through social media. On any channel, you can just find us at Amplified Minds. To learn more about Amplified Minds, go to our website at amplifiedminds.com. That's AMPLIFIEDMINDS.com. You should also check out the Amplified Minds Accountability Program, where you can gain access to a one-on-one personal accountability coach, somebody who will contact you weekly and motivate you, hold you accountable, follow up, and give you the proper resources that will help you to go out and achieve all your goals. Hey, shout out to all you coaches, speakers, mentors, the superheroes of the world. We have the perfect program for you and your audiences. We have the capabilities of setting your audience and communities up in private mastermind groups and assign them a one-on-one personal accountability coach where they can help your people achieve the things that they're working towards, tailored to your programs. For more information about this, go ahead and send me an email at Jon, that's JON, at amplifiedminds.com. I look forward to hearing from you.